Shit, you know what I'm saying? Like, this some social shit for everyone, you know what I'm saying? Like, I made this be myself, so hear me. Woo! I mean, like, we can put all that clown shit away. This some real shit for you. I'm spazzing right now, so listen, let's go. Yeah. It's in their bones, the thugs in harmony for the love of the money. Then fall victim for the cookie, then turn pussy, it's lonely. You said you hold it down when life get rough, we're here now, so show me. We move them losses to them wins. Heavy pounds, we make it ends meet. Converse with only a few who make me feel like I be 10 feet.
Yes, people. We are back in the building. We're back with another Here We Go. Guys, make sure you're smashing the like, sharing, and subscribing to the damn channel. Now, today we are taking a look at Evan Ferguson. Hey, listen, man. Evan Ferguson, former Brighton player, obviously has now officially moved on loan to West Ham. West Ham and Brighton have now finally agreed. He's been authorized to undergo the medical. That was earlier on in the afternoon. A straight loan deal until January. The salary will be covered by West Ham. Listen, man, Evan Ferguson, yeah, I can't even lie. He was one of those players when he was, I think it was a couple of seasons ago, I believe. I'm sure it was a couple of seasons ago. Everybody was looking at him. Every single person was looking at Evan Ferguson. I think, yeah, in the 22-23 season, you know, he had a good season, a good little, would we want to call it a breakout season, if you want to call it that. 16 goals, obviously 5 of those being in the Premier League too, so 11 goals. And 4 assists, you know, 6 goals in the Premier League, you know, in 19 games and 2 assists. So you're looking at a goal contribution every other game, you know, for someone who was, again, making their breakout, you know, in the Premier League in that season. So, you know, I looked at it and I thought, okay, cool. And he just looks like a player who was obviously, listen, all the confidence, playing under De Zerbi as well, you know, Brighton were doing well and everything was just kind of going well, you know, for, you know, just for him in a general sense. He then gets himself injured. That's where the things start to pick up for him. And you can see, look, in that 22-23 season, he gets an ankle injury. You know, the following season, he gets a knee injury. Then he picks up, you know, then he gets a cruciate ligament tear. Then he has ankle problems. This season, it has just been absolutely crazy, you know, ride for him. And I think that a loan move made sense because obviously, listen, look, Brighton have already got, you know, João Pedro, they've got Danny Welbeck, you know, playing up top. I'm not saying that they don't necessarily need a striker, but maybe not one who's only going to get a few games here and there, still working his way back up to, you know, some level of fitness, still working his way up to, you know, the ability that we kind of saw, you know, from him. You know, unfortunately, because of the injuries, and like you guys can see here, because of all of these injuries, it was always going to be difficult for him to be able to kind of come back into the fold, you know, and then try and make his mark, you know, if I'm being totally honest with you. And I think a low move makes sense. West Ham are in dire need of a striker. I think they've definitely put themselves, you know, in a position whereby I think who they got, is it Fulkrug? Obviously, Antonio is injured at this current moment in time. I can't even remember who they play up front, but I just know that they need strikers, you know, and they potentially, this could be a move. And Graham Potter, obviously now being the new West Ham manager, not saying obviously they've worked together, but at least with maybe the football that West Ham are trying to play, this might be something. This just might be something. This might be one of those things that you look at and you think to yourself, okay, you know what? I can play with a manager who likes to play a little bit of football, you know, who likes to potentially play more to my strengths. Potentially, again, this is all potential, but also, and this is obviously if this happens, right? Because we don't know how things are going to pan out for him at West Ham. But if I get given the chance, at least, even if I don't have a good game, I can still play the next game. I can still keep getting my match sharpness, match fitness back into the fold, and then boom, Bob to uncle, and then you can kind of hopefully get the player that we saw, as we saw there with the graph there, you know, of a couple of seasons ago, someone who had the confidence, and you know, he just looked like he was already, like, I mean, if you see his size and everything anyway, you can see he's kind of a big dude, right? But he was just playing with this level of confidence, you know, holding off defenders, you know, big, strong centre backs, you know, that play in the Premier League, and he was just holding them off like it was absolutely nothing, you know, running in behind when he needed to, dropping deep for the ball when he needed to. He has a great strike in him, he has an array of finishes. So I think that he he's got the you know the attributes to be able to still become a top striker, a good striker. But again, it is just really about finding his rhythm and getting back into game time. Now, obviously, you see the stats here: 59 games, 13 goals. But I mean, context tells you that he's been injured for God knows how long anyway, and he's made a lot of sub appearances and things like that. So, and he's still literally in the infancy of his career, to be honest with you. You know, his career started with such a bang that we forget that he's still quite young. You know, he's Irish international, all these kind of things, but he's still quite young. He still needs to get himself to that kind of this is my level sort of thing. Now, we haven't seen that yet. We've only seen the young Evan Ferguson, you know, kind of setting the Premier League alight and all these kind of things, but we haven't seen what that looks like on a consistent enough basis. It's only 6 months, right? So there's only so much we can potentially hope for. Obviously, listen, look, when we think back to January, you know, January kind of signings and stuff like that from other teams, of course, West Ham are hoping that, you know, it goes that way. You know, of course, West Ham are hoping that he comes in, he can help them score a few more goals, but also just be more of a focal point up front in terms of being someone who's going to be difficult to play against. I just feel like with the way that West Ham was playing previously under 𝐒𝐿opetegui, it just was not working at all. Obviously, Graham Potter is now in, so things may potentially change, but I am still sitting there thinking maybe this might just be a good move for everybody all round. This might just be the thing that says, okay, I can get back to this level. And then, you know, of course, you take it from there. There's no buy option or anything in there, but who knows, you know, come the end of the season, you hit 15 goals as an example between now and the end of the season, they might start thinking about signing you. Do you know what I mean? And you might just think, you know what, this might be the place, you know, for me, and new scenery, new surroundings. A bit like Marcus Rashford, really and truly. You know, you've been at one club now. Well, he was at another club, to be fair, before Brighton. But you know what I mean, in terms of in the Premier League anyway. You've been at this club, you know Brighton, you know how things work, etc., etc. But now we're going to try something new, especially now that I've had to come back from some level of adversity. What can I do now? And I think it's going to be an interesting one. This one, I'm not too sure about. I'm not 100% confident. Not in him. I rate Ferguson very, very highly. I think he's still a top talent. I still think that he can become, you know, the player that we thought he was going to become had he not had these injuries. But again, it's going to be down to him, right? It's going to be down to what he can do, what he can produce, and then we can just kind of, you know, take it from there. But let me know what you think in the comment section. Is this a good move for Ferguson? Good move for West Ham? Is he the type of striker, you know, who could potentially help West Ham to climb up that table? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section, people, and I'll catch you guys soon. Bye.